This week, next in leadership. Last year, Alex Odepal announced he was stepping down as principal at River. Now, former teacher Darby Meade is stepping into the role to lead. More administrative changes sweep the district and our school, with Morgan Parker filling the position of associate principal, Brett Blechschmidt stepping in as interim superintendent. Amidst an unpredictable time in education, with many functions of the Department of Education shut down, severe budget cuts, and strikes across Evergreen and La Center school districts, how will new administrators handle the current climate of education, and what will it mean for River? Odepal emphasized in a prior episode with us that his core leading value was uplifting student voices. But what values will River embody in the coming year? And how will the new administrators manage our school? Later, I'll be joined in studio by Principal Darby Meade and Associate Principal Morgan Parker. Welcome to the conversation. It's the Rapids Report.
From CR News, this is the Rapids Report with Emmy McGill.
And a good afternoon. I'm Emmy McGill, and thank you for joining us as we examine the start of a new chapter. As administration changes sweep the district, from the Vancouver Public Schools superintendent to Columbia River High School's very own staff. Jeff Snell, former district superintendent, held the position for 4 years. Now he's leading the Washington Association of School Administrators. Amongst the search for a new superintendent, interim Brett Blechschmidt has stepped in to guide the district, in light of Jeff Snell moving on in his career. Blechschmidt has worked for the Education Service District 112 for 19 years and serving as Vancouver Public Schools Associate Superintendent and Chief Financial Officer for 11. A press release from Vancouver Public Schools stated that Blechschmidt has, quote, a strong commitment to student-centered decision-making, staff collaboration, reliable systems, dependability, and continuity. He has agreed to not be considered as a permanent replacement, ensuring the process to select a new superintendent is fair and just. Another administrator has also passed on the torch. Alex Odepal served as the principal for 14 years. Now a former teacher at River, Darby Meade, is stepping into the position here at Columbia River High School. He is by no means new to the community. Meade graduated from River class of 1996. Meade also taught history and English at our school, along with coaching track for the first 13 years of his career in education, then serving as the principal of iTech Preparatory School before coming back to River this year.
Policies and goals for this year, my big goal is just to learn about the community. I'm very excited to be coming back, and I love this community, and it's awesome being a part of it again. So, my main goal is just to learn how I can support our students and teachers and our parents, and how I can be of help and try to build culture.
Morgan Parker is a familiar face to many at River, former Pathways and IB coordinator, starting her 7th year at River as an associate principal. When asked about how the roles differ, she told CR News her role in the Pathways Center was to support students in finding post-secondary opportunities, such as college, careers, and technical education. She'll be working directly with students, staff, and the wider community, providing communication and resources. Her focus as associate principal is curriculum, building class schedules along with supporting the counselors and teachers. She says the admin team's goal this school year is culture and climate, increasing student belonging at the center of it.
Mr. Duncan, myself, and Mr. Meade are all focusing on building culture and climate and student sense of belonging, continuing to increase that. That's something that we started last year that you probably heard a lot about, and we're going to continue on that. And I think really focusing on building a river community. We might have been hearing the term like river rising a lot around the building. We're trying to just help students feel more like they're part of the river community.
As these administrators step into new roles during a volatile time for education, they're facing new possibilities and problems. A classified staff vote on September 11th will be determining the possibility of a strike in Vancouver Public Schools, pending the change in a contract to better support clerks, paraeducators, and other classified staff. Last year, we also faced the implementation of devastating budget cuts, with staffing taking the biggest hit, leading to layoffs and large class sizes. Later, Principal Darby Meade will be joining me to discuss these issues and more. Joining me now on set is Associate Principal Morgan Parker. Thank you for joining me today on the Rapids
Of course.
Report. I just want to start out with, what's your main goal or objective as associate principal?
Okay, so obviously this is my first year as associate principal, but I think as an admin team, all of us together, our biggest goal is to really support development of culture and climate here at River. We've been talking a lot about student belonging for the last 2 years, and we want to continue that momentum as we have a new admin team and just focusing on making sure that students feel really connected to the school community this year.
What's your approach to handling student discipline while still fostering personal growth?
So I think that one of the biggest things I got to help with our admin team last year was focusing on some of the hate and bias work that we were doing in our building. And I think through that process, and this can be applied to discipline as a whole, is that we're an educational institution, and so anytime somebody's making a mistake or a choice that's not aligning with the values of the school or the requirements of school, is that really focusing on teaching throughout that experience for the students so that they can grow and learn is probably the most important piece to me. So like having a conversation about why the actions are taken and what the impacts are on the broader school community, so hopefully students can understand why the behavior should change, basically. So making sure that discipline is an educational process alongside the stuff, if you like the actual discipline part of it too, but focusing on that piece.
What challenges do you anticipate in this new role, and how are you preparing to tackle them?
I think one of the biggest challenges is just all of the things that we want to accomplish as an admin team and as a staff this year. I think there's a lot of really good energy in our building to focus on bringing River, like we keep talking about River rising and like bringing it to be everything that it can be. And so for me, it's been like there's so many cool things I want to work on, but I have to remind myself, like, peel back, pick one or two, make sure you focus on that and get it right, rather than like taking on too many things at one time. So I think just trying to prioritize what's most important, what's going to have the biggest impact for students the quickest is probably where the effort will go in the beginning, and hopefully over time as the new team gets to know each other and staff are working together with the new team, then we'll be able to make more impact and do even bigger and better things.
Yeah, and earlier you mentioned culture and community being a big goal. Where would you like to see River in terms of that goal by the end of the school year?
I mean, this is probably a lofty goal, but I would love for 100% of students to say that they feel connected to our community in some way. I know in the past we've had lots of reports from students of like, we maybe only focus on sports at our school or something really specific, or the IB program. And I hope that over this year we can show students that there are a lot of different ways to be connected to River, and it doesn't have to be one of like a main program that you're hearing about all the time. Like you can build something with other people in our community that is important to you that can hopefully help you feel more individually connected to our space, and then trying to help students celebrate that. So even if it's a small group of students who are really excited about an effort, like I just met with some last week who are really excited about mental health awareness in our school community, and they have some really great ideas. It's just a small group of 3 of them right now, and the things that they want to do don't exist yet, but if we can invest some time and energy into it, I think that could become a really big, important part of our community that we don't have right now.
What do you value most about our current school culture, and how do you hope to help shape or strengthen it moving forward?
You've probably heard everybody who talks about River talks about our long history of tradition. CRTV did a great video last week about like our tradition of excellence and really trying to build each other up. I really appreciate about our community that people are committed to like understanding the why behind things and really investing in like doing research behind different topics that are going on, and using like their academics as a platform to improve culture and community. I think obviously having the IB program at River makes us a little bit unique in that maybe our school has a little bit more of a global perspective on different things.
How do you think that plays a role overall, not just in IB classes, but what does that look like in action?
I feel like we have a lot of students in our school that are willing to like look at the bigger picture of things that are going on. So anytime I've sat down with students, even who are like bringing maybe issues to the table about what's going on in our school, they can understand the why behind it. And I think it takes somebody who has a more global perspective to understand that things may not always operate the way that you think they should, or like, operate from your perspective only. I also think that like, when we're talking about like, I'm going to go back to the hate and bias protocol that we talked about a little bit earlier. I think our students understand how those things play out in the world outside of our school, which is something that I haven't always had with students that I've worked with. And I think that our school community, our teachers, our staff, our paraeducators, all the people in our building really push students to understand that bigger perspective rather than just their own viewpoint on things.
And having previously worked here in a different role, what unique perspectives or insights do you bring to this position?
Well, so I was the career counselor for the last 6 years, and before that I worked in nonprofit work helping students who had maybe chosen to leave school before they graduate, and helped them with like connecting to jobs and education and things like that. And I think those positions have given me a perspective on like what school is all about. You know, like there's this culminating thing at the end of year 12 or 14 years, however long you spend in your education, that really everything you've done up until that point drives what you're able to do after high school, and the choices you get to make for the rest of your life, really. And so I think bringing that into those conversations we were talking about earlier is a really important perspective to just keep in mind with students. And then of course, like I know a lot of cool things that are happening outside of our building from my other position too, and I feel like I'll be good at helping support, like advertise different opportunities for students to engage in outside of school too, that'll help build their resume and help them be competitive for what they want to do after high school too, and support the Career Center, of course, or the Pathway Center.
You've been a part of the school community for some time. How has that transition into the new role been for you?
It's been really great. I think you guys shared last week that I was a student here too. I never expected to be working here, which is super fun to end up someplace you never thought you would be. But I feel like I was looking for like doing something a little bit different and new. And so it's really cool that I'm getting to do a new position at the school I'm already at or have been at, just because I know the community pretty well. And so you're able to do some really exciting things pretty quickly because you've already built the really good relationships with staff and students in the community. Yeah, so I'm loving the new position. It's really fun. I do miss career counseling a little bit, but Rachel Fouts-Carrico and Chris Walther have been great. They've been letting me kind of do some work with them too, so I get to feed that part of my passion too. But I love the new job, and the new team that we have has been really great.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
Just ahead, I'll be sitting down with Principal Darby Meade after a quick break. That's next.
It doesn't matter who sits in this chair. The conversation continues. Emmy, welcome to the Rapids Report.
I think the most difficult part of this issue is the context of it, but there's so many more voices that aren't heard as often that are just as important. History is political, art is political, being a citizen of America is political, whether you like it or not. It will trickle down and it will affect you. Is there a specific area you plan to prioritize? Do you believe that repeated vandalism leads to a lack of trust between students and staff? But what does that look like in action? How can they make accurate decisions on things if they're not hearing the stories of the people that it will affect? Welcome to the conversation. It's the Rapids Report. Now on set is Principal Darby Meade. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to start off with, what are the first actions or changes you plan to make at River?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a change, but action-wise, you know, I believe that anytime you come into a new system, a new team, whatever it is, that building trust is the most important thing. So my first action, I think, is to work with the community, to work with the teachers, the students, staff, and just build trust and let them know that, you know, I'm here to support them, I'm here to support the students, and you know, that's my role, is to serve them.
Last year there were significant budget cuts throughout the district. How will you approach balancing funding for academics, extracurriculars, technology, and supplies? Is there a specific area you plan to prioritize more or less than others?
You know, in the budget, there's different things. There's the staffing and you know, how many classes we can offer and the allocation of money we get for that. And that's kind of set, and we're moving forward with that as far as the number of classes and things like that. But then as far as the school budget, you know, there's things that are proactive and reactive. So, you know, depending on how well students do, and we've had a tremendous amount of success here at Columbia River with a lot of the sports and activities. That's awesome, and that creates some needs financially. So those are the things that we plan for that are reactive, and then the proactive steps. We can look at where there are areas where we can maybe cut some costs. And what I always think about with that, we have a budget committee at the school that looks at that and discusses those type of things. But what I always think about is, how many students is it impacting? Is it something that we can use from year to year? Is it one-time, cost type of thing? And just looking at how we can best allocate those funds. And I think that's getting a good picture of what the year will look like. What are some of the things that we'll need to spend money on down the road? And then discussing that with a team of people that we can make some determinations on how best to spend that money. So whether it's extracurriculars, technology, supplies, whatever it is, how many students is it benefiting, and then is it something that we can use from year to year? Is it kind of a fixed cost or something that changes? But ultimately, we are here for the students, and so the priority on any financial decision is always how it'll impact students.
What are your goals regarding academics, and how will you uplift programs such as IB?
Academics, we talked a lot at the beginning of the year about rigor and increasing rigor in the classroom and giving students opportunities to access their learning in different ways, providing a variety of options for our students. The IB program is a little bit unique in that, and I'm still learning about that, but a little bit unique in that, there are some specific tracks and pathways that students take, and there are some requirements and necessities for that. So, balancing that with our other classes and making sure that we're not getting classes that are too large and things like that. But looking at, where again, do we get the best, benefits as far as what classes we want to offer and how our students can access those classes. So trying to be creative with that, but really just pursuing academic excellence and helping create a context. I believe my job is to create a context for our teachers to be able to thrive and grow, and allowing them opportunities to do that and supporting them, and also getting our students involved in their education. So coming from a school that was a project-based learning school, engagement is a real big thing for me as far as academics, and not just compliance, and I'm going to do this time because my teacher told me to, but how can we find real-world applications and programs like this where you're doing something with that learning. And so I think that's, for me, engagement in academics is extremely important.
And what would you say about the possibility of Vancouver Public Schools entering a strike, and how will River respond if that does happen?
Yeah, so I think that's a reality. There's multiple school districts around that's happening too, and with all of the budget constraints over the last couple of years and increasing costs and things, it puts us in some difficult financial situations. I have a lot of faith and trust that the district and the different labor partners will be able to come to a consensus on how best to serve our students, and hope that isn't something that happens. But if it did, we would communicate through the district and also through the school real clearly on what was going on, so that our students would be informed, and people would have the information they needed. But again, I have a tremendous amount of trust in our district leadership and also our labor partner leadership, that they'll be able to come to a good solution so that we won't have to go down that road.
How would you define a successful school year for yourself, for teachers, and for students?
I think this year we're really working on culture. So we're going to work on really building a culture that includes all of our students, and we want to build spirit and build pride in the school, while at the same time not excluding any of our students or student groups. So that's going to be a balance, right? Is making sure we're giving opportunities for all our students to be involved. And I think that, a successful year for us would be a year where I think for me, people would feel supported. People feel good about coming to school here, that they feel hopeful, that they feel proud of what they're doing here at school, and how whatever that looks like for each of our students and each of our staff. I think that would be, for me, what would define a successful school year, is that people feel valued, and that people are happy and proud to come to school every day, and that this is a place they want to be.
You mentioned a focus on culture and climate. What are some specific ways you and the administrative team are planning to improve those?
So a lot of listening to what students in the community need in regards to their engagement in school and things like that. And then I think also, providing opportunities to highlight and to showcase a lot of different programs here, and learning how to best do that, whether that be, assemblies or the parade like we did today. But, just giving opportunities, highlighting musical events and providing opportunities for people to understand what is going on and engage in those things. And to do that in a variety of ways, so that we're not just serving one portion of our population.
How do you plan to engage with parents in the wider community about the school?
We're really looking at two different things here. We're looking at within the school, how do we build that culture? How do we empower students? How do we ultimately what we want to do within the school is we want to have students feel empowered so that they can start doing things that excite them, that they're engaged in, and then that kind of builds upon itself. There's a whole nother component of how do we engage the outside community. And one of the things about Columbia River that's truly special is that there's this amazing tradition and network outside of the school building. A lot of people stay in the community. You get a lot of, I was here for 13 years as a teacher. I went to school here. You get a lot of, you just meet a lot of people that have parents or siblings or whatever that went to school here and were in this community. And so how do we, draw those people back into the community and allow them opportunities to engage and participate in different things, whether it's, parents coming in, whether it's alumni that have opportunities to come in and work with our students or help, whether it's financial contributions, but just bringing that community in. There have been some things in the last few years that have created some challenges for some of our alumni. So getting them to feel comfortable coming back in and participating, in what we're doing. And then the other thing is, as far as parents and our kind of, the community right around the school, given opportunities for students to demonstrate their learning. So getting parents in where kids can showcase their work and be proud of what they're doing, and getting community in that way is a big piece. And then outside of the Columbia River community, how can we leverage partnerships to get opportunities for our kids that we might not have had otherwise? How can we serve our community in ways that they may not have had opportunities to do before? So I think all of those things kind of come together in how we try to build community both within the school, with our community, and then with the outside community as well. So.
And you've known some of River's teachers for a while. Specifically, you appeared on a reality TV, a real estate reality TV show with math teacher David Cummings in 2010.
Yeah.
Are there any particular moments from that experience or with other teachers in the school that have really stuck with you?
So absolutely, and with the reality TV show first, it was called My First Place. It was on HGTV, and I think the Mr. Cummings and I have always kind of laughed because I think they canceled the show after that season. Hopefully, it wasn't because of our performance, but it was interesting because reality TV. In my perception prior to this, I thought, well, they follow you around with the camera and you and watch what you're doing, but that's not the case. So they film everything from like 3 different angles, so you do everything multiple times. and it isn't always as it appears. There's a lot of suggestions of how you walk through the house and show the house and that type of thing.
How has having those connections with the teachers at this school affected coming back after all these years?
It's been amazing. I mean, it's like I was trying to explain to somebody earlier today. It's like it's like you're melding your work life with kind of like coming home. So an opportunity to come back to a place I've always been really passionate about. My grandfather was the first principal here, and my parents both met here, and so there's a lot of that kind of emotional connection for me, and to be able to come back and help support this amazing community has been, I don't know if it's really sunk in yet, but it's been just it's an amazing chance that I've been given. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned, I believe, your grandfather being the first principal here. How from what you've seen throughout your life, how has River evolved?
I think it's, everything evolves, right? So things change. I think there's a lot of constants that have stayed the same. But as far as the change, I mean, it's grown and developed into something, like I said before, really special. When it started out, it was I think 6th grade through 10th grade, and then the grades rolled up. It was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, on the north end of the city, and it's now development has come around Columbia River, and it's developed a rich tradition. And I think, as we move into this next chapter and continue to evolve, we'll see what, the needs of our students are, and it's changed with the needs of the students. See what the needs of our students are, and keep the things that help us to be successful, and change things that aren't working, and just being open to doing that, and getting feedback from students and the community on how to do that.
Could you share a defining moment in your career that shaped the kind of principal you want to be?
A lot of defining moments in my time at Columbia River when I was both a student here and then also worked here. But I think a big one is just I had an opportunity to come back and work with, teach with, and coach with a group of guys that I played for and had in class as teachers. And that was a great mentorship opportunity for me, a guy by the name of John O'Rourke, and just the importance that I learned from him, the importance of, we're here because of the people in the community, the people here at Columbia River, and that people matter, and that's an important thing. Because a lot of times from the principal perspective, you can kind of start to look at things from a detached view and look at it as, finances or programs or whatever it is. But, ultimately, I think a defining moment for me was just the understanding and learning that it's really about the people that make up the community in the school, and that's what you have to focus on when you're making decisions. That's the important thing.
And you mentioned that sometimes principals have a more detached view. How do you remain close and in contact with students and their needs?
Yeah. I think I'm kind of lucky in the sense that that's the part of the job that I enjoy, and it's the part of the job that is intuitive for me. And so, a daily thing is I try to, and I don't always succeed, but I try to get into all the classrooms each day and be out and around and talking to people, teachers, kids, staff, and that for me, I mean, that's where I find the joy and the connection to the job. The other stuff I do because we have to do it, and the some of the other parts. But being with people and helping solve problems and serving the community is what I love, and that's the part of the job that's easier for me to do. And I feel really fortunate from that because it allows me to stay connected and to know what's going on. And then I have to pull myself out of that to do some of the other tasks, because that's where I would choose to spend my time.
What's one thing you want students at River to know about you as the new principal?
The biggest thing is that, I'm here, my purpose as I see it is schools are here to help students and provide for students opportunities for them to learn. And I see my role as supporting teachers so that they can do great things in the classroom, and supporting students so they can grow and thrive and flourish. And so as a principal, I'm here for that reason. I'm not here for any other purpose. And so I want to make sure that students know that I'll be around, I'm accessible, and they can always
share ideas, come talk to me. This isn't some type of thing where, you know, the principal is detached from the student body. You know, I want to be involved, and I want to be here as a resource for our students and for our staff, and just to help in any way I can in this community.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the Rapids Report today.
Absolutely.
That is our show for this week. I'm Emmy McGill. As always, the conversation continues because here at CR News, the Rapids Report. Hey Rapids, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the CRTV YouTube channel to support content for and by CR students. Thanks for watching.